You can imagine my president being taken to committee. I'm telling you, he should ask Raila, who has been in committee. To ask him, tell him to ask, now that Raila is a friend, he's a brother. Tell him to ask Raila how committee is. So I want the president to look at himself in the mirror and ask himself, why are my people calling me such names? A butcher. You know, a butcher is merciless. Write a resignation letter in his own writing and smash it on Ruto's face.
Okay.
Say, bloody, chukua barua yako. Go away, take your job. Even a cat, if it senses that you want to poison it, it will not eat your food. An animal. You're a human being with brains. Why would you just sit there and wait when you impeach? Then you come to us crying and saying, oh, you know, now these people wanted to poison me. I think for me I found that one a bit childish. He would have called that Charagay boy of his and told him, wewe Charagay, watch your puss. Do you remember what I said? What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not Sogoi. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.
A very good day to you and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. I'm so glad that you've joined us once again for political conversations here. Conversations we hope will help our political leaders in making better policy decisions and informed political moves. The impeachment of one Rigathi Gachagua has sparked a lot of intense debate both legally and in the political sphere. My conversation with him is about what is happening. Also, should we extend our term limit for our MPs, presidents, governors, senators, members of the county assembly, or should we reduce them? There's actually a 4-year reduction proposal. But one Senator Chege has brought it to the public that he needs this thing to be implemented so that they extend their term limits, and it's actually now a bill in Parliament. I'm here with Philip Kisia, who is a leadership and governance expert, former Nairobi Town Clerk, ex-KICC CEO. We're going to talk about everything that is happening in the country. Great to see you, sir. How are you doing this particular day in your fine residence on a particular Friday?
Jed, I'm relaxing. I'm okay. Waiting to start my evening. Yeah, I hope you carried something so that we can share. Yeah,
now that
you are normally very useful and you are a resourceful young man.
I hope I'll take what's in your place. But it's always a pleasure to see you. What has caught your eye this particular week? You always like to start with Mr. Kisia's highlights before we even talk about my questions.
Jed, this week has been full of drama. Kenya is a country full of interesting things that happen. Some are useful, some are just a mere waste of time, but yeah, we enjoy the drama that is going on. And this week, something that really caught my attention is the video. The video, and I kept on replaying, and I'd call him Baba. I now want to add another title on Baba, Prophet Rao, Raila Amolo Odinga. Prophet. Just look for that video and play it out, and you'll understand why I'm calling him. I'm giving him a new title.
Wetangula ni rafiki yangu. Mimi ndio nilitoa yeye kwa KANU. Walikuwa ni watu wa Nyayo. Mimi ndio nilitoa yeye kwa lete pande hii. Wakati tulikuwa kwa Ford, walikuwa kwa KANU. Sasa yeye amekuwa speaker. Kisheria ya House of Commons, speaker must be somebody who's neutral. A speaker must be non-partisan. You cannot be a speaker if you remain a member or a leader of the Conservative Party or Labour Party. Huwezi. Mpaka ujizulu cheo chako ya kichama ndio wewe unaweza kuwa neutral speaker.
Well, that is Raila Amolo Odinga. You're calling him now a prophet. There's this issue with Speaker Wetangula. Do you think they're going to remove him out of that seat?
You know, they have called Baba many things. They have called him a Muganga. And I think just Baba must accept those titles. Because if he's a Muganga, then his prophecy is coming to pass.
Yeah.
He had warned Rigathi told Rigathi, please be careful. That mouth of yours, yeah, will be your end. Is Gachagua not coming to his end? He's about to come to his end. He's buying time. He has no strategy, clear strategy on how he can overcome the challenges that are going on. So he's buying time. But the goose is cooked.
Oh.
But what was interesting in that video, you saw again Mzee warning my friend and village mate, Moses Masika Wetangula, that if you don't mend your ways, you'll be the next one on the chopping board. And indeed, the way I see things happening, and we've been around for some time, Jed, I can tell you for certain that these things are not happening without the support of the heavyweights. In that video that we played, you've seen Raila reminding Moses Masika Wetangula that you are in conflict. And because Kenya has borrowed a lot from the Commonwealth parliamentary system, Mzee has sent a warning shot. Say, you cannot be a party leader of a party called Ford Kenya and at the same time be a speaker. Because a speaker is supposed to be an arbiter. Is supposed to be somebody who can listen to both sides. Okay? So Masika is in conflict. And then, of course, I came across a letter written by the Member of Parliament for Starehe, Amos. And Amos has said very many things about my brother, Moses. Some that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
He is accusing Moses of running Parliament as an appendage of the executive. He has even suggested in his communication to the Speaker that the Speaker has completely destroyed the governance structure of Parliament. That Moses Masika Wetangula is a face of impunity. This one I didn't know, but I've read from this letter that the man is inept, incompetent, arrogant, and unknowledgeable. These ones I didn't know. And I think this one I would come to the defense of my brother. My brother is extremely knowledgeable.
Yeah,
you can accuse him for many other things, but you can't accuse him for being inept and incompetent. You can say that probably he's biased towards the executive, or he supports all the policies that are propagated by the President William Ruto. That one I think you can accuse him. But saying that he's incompetent, that one I don't really agree with it. But that is what the man has written. And of course, he has said, among other things, that Moses Masika Wetangula is partisan. That is a letter written by Amos Maina, MP for Starehe.
Do you think this is the feeling of most MPs?
When you see this happening, you heard what Baba said. You heard that choose. You can't be a party leader and they say, that's a warning shot. And as the Swahili say, ukiona mwenzako ananyolewa nywele, chako kitie maji. I am advising my brother that if he has not poured water on his head, he should do that immediately. Because he is actually next on the chopping board. And you see, Moses comes from a tribe in this country, the second largest tribe. And why they cannot govern themselves the way other people have governed themselves and organize themselves so that they are forced to reckon with is a matter of debate. How can you treat a speaker that way? Papa wa Roma, number 3 in command, you just want to remove him like a primary school teacher. Like even that one has a lot of respect. Like you want to sack him the way you sack the man who takes care of your chicken in Sugoi. This is the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Do you think this is the feeling of most members of Parliament when it comes to the Speaker?
There is no feeling. That Parliament doesn't work with feelings. That parliament works with the stomach. It works with the stomach. I've said this before. They are puppets. They will get direction from you know where.
It doesn't matter what they think
They
about.
will get direction. And once they get direction, it doesn't matter what. It doesn't. Nothing matters. Just the way Rigathi was voted out by overwhelming 280 something MPs, Moses may find himself being voted up by the entire parliament, more than 300. That was number. The other one that I want you to play is a video, and this one, because you know William is my friend, and I keep on saying this, and some of the things I say are meant to help him, okay? Because I want him to survive. But William is boxing himself out of the office through the things and action that he keeps on taking. But look, before I comment, just look for that video. The ex president of Peru. Just look for that video. Play it out.
Alejandro Toledo sat calmly as the verdict was handed down.
He had the duty to protect and preserve the assets of the state in a rational manner, avoiding abuse, waste or misuse, without using or allowing others to use the assets of the state for private purposes.
He accepted a bribe of $35 million from the Odebrecht company in return for a contract to build a 650-kilometer section of a highway connecting Peru to Brazil. The trial, the 79-year-old denied any wrongdoing.
Quiero decirles públicamente,
I want to publicly say that I am innocent.
inocente.
Well, that is ex-president of Peru being accused of corruption, $35 million, but he pleads innocent, still found guilty. Kisia, why are you playing this as we are starting?
You see, I found that video interesting because the things that the ex-president of Peru, Juan Toledo, is being accused of are the same things Kenyans are accusing President Ruto of. They are accusing him of attempting to sell our national assets. Yet the Constitution expects our president to protect our assets. But he wants to give them out, like our airport, for free. Our electricity lines, for free. He wants to give away our assets for free. That is what ex-president Toledo did when he was in the office. And they got him from wherever he was hiding. And they brought him back. He's in Peru right now, facing charges. The other thing, of course, is the issue of corruption that President Ruto is being accused of by the people. He's being accused. Now, why am I saying that? Why am I playing this video, Jed? Is to try and persuade my president to avoid any corrupt deals, to stop this dream of selling our assets, because I would be so sad, Jed, when you people, because me, you know, I would not want in another 5-10 years to be the one to prosecute Ruto. I will not want, not at that age. If Ruto does not correct his ways, the people who are going to prosecute him are you, the Gen Zs and millennials, and the alphas. They are the ones who will put him where? On the guillotine machine. If not, they will reintroduce the rope. They may decide to hang him until he dies. Does what? He dies. They may decide. You know, these Gen Zs and millennials, you guys are ruthless. So I'm trying to, you know, warn my friend that these things that you are doing will catch up with you one day. And that time you'll be an old man like this man. He's not saying, you know, I have cancer, I have this one, I am sick. Please, even if you are to prosecute me while I'm where? At home. The judge where I suspect is a millennial, has told him, no, that's not how we deal with thieves. Thieves, we have a special place for you. built by taxpayers' money. And you know that place, you've seen in the video, it's a beautiful place. The ones we have here are not beautiful. You can imagine my president being taken to committee. I'm telling you, he should ask Raila, who has been in committee. To ask him, tell him to ask, now that Raila is a friend, he's a brother. Tell him to ask Raila how committee is. I don't want him to see my president in the committee. So I am just pleading with my president. God has been very kind to you. You have made enough money. Don't allow people to confuse you.
If you listen to
don't allow people to confuse
talking about Adani and says, I just don't want to burden Kenyans.
You see, Jed, Kenyans are not stupid. Kenyans are not saying that they don't want development. Kenyans, in fact, they want a first, the world class in the country. They want a Singapore, like yesterday. But what they are saying, where they are disagreeing with our president, is the shortcut that he wants to take.
Yeah.
He seems so hell-bent on making sure that Adani gets electricity, power lines, that Adani gets our airport, that Adani gets the healthcare. Why Adani? So people have no problem with him, but people have a problem with how he intends to execute the mandate that they have given him. Who told him we don't want a good airport? The question, he has refused to answer the questions that Kenyans are asking him. But he's hiding behind, I don't want to overburden you, I want to give you. Even that was a burden because 270 billion shillings, a mere 270 billion over 30 years. You want to tell me there's no bank that can finance that one? Even local banks? Why can't he go to our local banks and borrow 270 billion to be paid over 30 years? Why can't he borrow that money? Or to World Bank, his friends IMF, borrow that money? So long as he's going to build an airport. In fact, if you borrow that money, improve our airport, double the arrivals, okay? I suspect that's a loan you can pay in less than 10 years. So why does he want to bring some Indian from Adani to come and do these things? That one is a question that His Excellency, my good friend, William Ruto, must answer. He is not going to escape. Okay. And people in court. The third video that I wanted to play, and this one I found very interesting. My friend Martha Karua, Wangare, just look for that video.
Chad people, ODM. And who was the chief butcher? Ruto again. That's why he went to the ICC. And you forgive me if I call William Ruto the butcher of Kenya. That's what he is. Last year in Azimio demonstrations, over 70 dead. The known ones, because we don't know whether they falsified records also last year. This year, we don't know how many, but I bet there are more than 100. What other name can we call him but butcher of Kenya? This has to stop, and it will only stop because you and me want it to stop. Kenyans must stop fearing. Some who were killed were not even in the demonstrations.
That is NAK Kenya party leader Martha Karua. She calls Ruto, the president, a butcher. This is the final video for us, but do you really think we need to talk about that?
You see, I want him now to start reflecting. Because my friend Martha is not a mad woman to call the president a butcher. So I want the president to look at himself in the mirror and ask himself, why are my people calling me such names? A butcher. You know, a butcher is merciless. A butcher has no heart. Yeah? A butcher is murderous. The way a butcher, cuts those pieces of meat and bones, does he appear as if somebody who has a heart? So I wanted to play that video for the sake of my friend, so that he can start reflecting. You know, when people talk badly about you, you need to take a moment and reflect and ask yourself hard questions. So I'm hoping that as we're approaching Christmas, and because my president, my good friend, is a Christian, and Christians normally take a moment to reflect. I want the president to reflect.
Let's get into a conversation for today. What has been happening in the country has all been about the constitution, from the empanelment of the 3-judge bench that is listening to Gachagua's case to the term limits. But I want to start with this judge that were asked to recuse themselves by the petitioners. This is Rigathi Gachagua's legal team. And they were asked also to deliberate on how they were empaneled by the Deputy Chief Justice, Martha Koome. This is where I want to start, Kisia, from the proceedings of Parliament to now in our courts. What do you make and how do you assess how the courts have so far listened to the petitions of Rigathi Gachagua and the application of the Attorney General when it comes to lifting the stay orders, when it comes to the swearing in of one Kithure Kindiki?
I think, Jed, I am one of the maybe many Kenyans who still have faith in our judicial system. I think the judiciary, to a very large extent, has done us proud. They have made judgments which are sound and in accordance with the Constitution. So I would not really bother so much dive into this matter, because the other party, Gachagua's lawyers, had filed a certificate of urgency saying that the matter is urgent, it's a matter of public interest. So when the judiciary expedites the process, then you turn back and complain, say, no, the deputy CJ had no authority. The only person who can answer that question is the CJ herself. If she left the country, does it mean that the country comes to a standstill? Because the CJ is out. Supposing the CJ is incapacitated, because she's a human being. Supposing something happens to her, anything can happen to a human being. Touch wood. Does the country stop functioning? So I think that one, in my view, was an administrative issue. Most likely she had authority from her boss to handle all the matters, of course, in accordance with the Constitution, to handle all the matters that were brought before her. And this one was urgent. And I'm sure with technology, they must have had a discussion. It was a weighty matter. And I'm sure, I don't want to talk on behalf of the CJ, but I'm sure she must have said, you know what, in my absence, proceed. It's a matter that is urgent. But that having said, I think the question is whether all parties are being treated fairly. That is what should worry people. Not who is doing what and what. No, let's not play ping pong here. Okay? The guys are in court. Let them prosecute their case. And let allow the courts to make a determination. What worried me, and I'm just praying that it is not accurate, the information that is going around. I have seen information going around to suggest that Justice Murima, at some point represented Amason King. At some point. Then the seconder of the motion in the Senate is Senator, my friend, Matsayo. He seconded the motion. Matsayo, it is claimed that Matsayo and Justice Murima at some point were what? Were partners in the law firm.
Yeah.
Then again, Kingi comes in to preside over an impeachment motion of Gachagua. If that is proved to be right, then in my view, that's a very serious matter. Because Justice Murima, if that is true, Justice Murima should never have presided over that matter. Because he, if that is true, the man was conflicted, if that is true. So those are some of the things that should worry us.
So
is Gachagua being treated fairly?
Then my question is, what do you think?
That is not
the question
who
is
gave approval to do what?
They have made a ruling that they will not recuse themselves, despite these allegations and this a conversation about Justice Frida being a student of Kindiki, Justice Ogola's wife working in government, and now Justice Mrima's friendship sort of with one Amason Kingi, the speaker. Should they have just recused themselves so that to boost public confidence?
I agree with you, Jed. You see, anytime there's some doubt when it comes to issues to do with justice, when there's some doubt, when there's a shadow of a doubt, because a judge is supposed to be so clean, you know, that a judge, somebody holding the position of a judge, should never be doubted. So when there's even, you know, some little truth that suggests that you may have some relationship with those before you, the chances of you being conflicted are very high. But even if you are as straight as most of the judges are, I think your conscience should tell you to step aside, because why do you really want to proceed with that matter if you have no interest? Why would you want to proceed with it? There are many other judges who can deal with the matter. And people are looking for fairness. So because you don't want the judgment to make it, no matter how sound that judgment may be, you don't want people to start saying that, you know what, it is because they were girlfriends, it is because, you know, they were doing this, it is because they were partners. Just step aside.
But from where I sit, them refusing to recuse themselves, could that be one of the things that Gachagua's team was doing so that to slow the proceedings? Could this be? And they have looked at their conscience, as you've said, and they've said, my conscience is clear, I can determine.
So, I mean, if their conscience is clear, because they'll make a ruling, the ruling will be subject to appeal. If their conscience is clear and clean, then let them proceed.
Talk to me then about one Rigathi Gachagua. His case is now before the 3-judge bench that was empaneled by DCJ Philomena Mwilu. Do you think he has a case? When you look at how the hastening in Parliament, you look at Gachagua's team talking about the DCJ empaneling it in weird hours. Do you think he has a case when you look at this whole proceeding?
Well, I think as whether he has a case or not, let the courts determine. But when the 11 charges were read out, I said there's one which really sticks out. The one that I can pick out that even a child who has not been born can say there's a problem here is the issue of the shareholding. Okay? And running with it and suggesting that Kenya is a company that is owned by a few individuals. Okay? I think that one, that particular one, forget about the rest. The ones are saying, oh, you know, try to disenfranchise the late brother's family and what have you. Those ones are family issues. But that one, trying to exclude other Kenyans from our resources, that becomes a big problem. So Jed, for me, Gachagua, from where I'm sitting, Gachagua's goose is already cooked. Because, you know, there must be separation of what? Of power. Parliament or Senate, they have got their role to play. Which they did. They impeached Gachagua. Okay? I think the question we're dealing with, was it done procedurally? Nobody's fighting, and even Gachagua is not contesting the fact that he was impeached. Because that's the job of Parliament. So it's a political process. But then the Constitution talks about following the procedure and being fair. So that is where now Gachagua, forget about the impeachment process and the impeachment itself. He's just saying that they were not fair to me. And that one is captured in our Constitution. I think it's Article 47. Okay? Fair administrative justice. That one they cannot escape. So if the judges find that he was they didn't follow the constitution in impeaching Gachagua, they may find the process flawed. And therefore, maybe allow Gachagua to continue serving because the process was flawed. Not that they have no duty, they have no powers to impeach. That is their mandate. But did they follow procedure? Or they were just in a hurry and missed out several steps in the process. So if Gachagua, Jed, even if the court were to say, okay, Gachagua goes back to serve, will he be able to serve under President William Ruto? Can they work together? Can you force two people to sleep in the same bed where the marriage has gone to a point where it's irreconcilable? You cannot reconcile the two. And they have said it in the open. Rigathi is on record saying that these people wanted to poison me. And is pointing a finger at one William Ruto. So even if the courts were to send him back, the question would be, how do they work together? And that is why, Jed, I am of the view that even if the courts now find that the process was flawed, because we are dealing with a political process, he should go back, serve for a few months, and I said this before, take a good pen and paper, write a resignation letter in his own writing, and smash it on Ruto's face.
Okay.
Say, bloody, chukua barua yako. Go away, take your job. I don't need this job of yours. He would have left at high. He should not force himself to remain in a marriage that cannot work. That would be stupid of him. So, because he just wants fairness, I'm assuming that he is not dying to be the DP under Ruto. He's not dying. Okay? So if that is the case, he just wants to be fair. If he's saying that the process they used to get me out of office was unfair, and the courts reinstate him, he should know that he cannot work with William Ruto.
Why can't he
write a letter? Write a beautiful letter. And you know these people, and Gachagua is a very clever man. Write a letter, a beautiful letter, and do what I've just said.
Why don't you
smash it on his face?
Why don't you think he can go Ruto's way of sticking in the office till the end of the term as he did with President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Why do you want to be humiliated? Why? Why would you want to be humiliated? Ruto stuck in the office because he knew what that office was giving him. Why would you want to stick in an office if you can't work with your boss? Why do you want to humiliate yourself? You have a wife, you have children, you have family, you have friends. They respect you. Why would you want to be humiliated?
So if
I was the one, I would hang in for about a year and a half. But in that a year and a half, I'll be writing a beautiful letter and smash it on his face.
You've talked about something serious, the poisoning, and I want to talk about the politics of it all. Gachagua comes out of hospital, says they tried to poison him, said they tried to bag his hotel rooms. Talk to me about the public perception post Gachagua's accusations, calling President William Ruto. He said they didn't know President Ruto would act the way he did on him. What is the public perception now of President William Ruto, and what does this imply broadly when it comes to the political landscape of the country?
You know, Jed, security of any human being is of paramount importance. And more so, the security of the number two. Number two in a country cannot be taken for granted. So when Gachagua came out crying and telling the public how he was almost poisoned by the intelligence services, that was a very, very serious accusation. The question that I'll be asking Rigathi Gachagua, you sit in the Security Council, did you bring it up? It was a matter tabled before the Security Council with evidence. If it was indeed tabled and not discussed, then President Ruto must be taken to account. Okay? But if he never tabled a serious allegation like this one, bordering on the potential of taking somebody's life through poisoning, then I would want to treat that as hot air.
Oh.
Because yes, if you know that people want to kill you through poison, would you just sit down? Even a cat, if it senses that you want to poison it, it will not eat your food. An animal. You're a human being with brains. Why would you just sit there and wait when you impeach? Then you come to us crying and saying, oh, you know, now these people wanted to poison me. I think for me I found that one a bit childish, because a serious matter like that one should have been tabled in the Security Council. And if the Security Council ignored, he should have brought that matter to the public.
So do you think Kenyans bought it?
He should have. I don't think Kenyans bought that argument, because why keep quiet? You only bring it up when you're being thrown out of the office. Because see, but I think going into the future, we need to have a bit of respect for the office of the Deputy President. We should not treat a Deputy President the way Rigathi Gachagua has been treated. Sending small little boys of no consequence to demean, to look down a Deputy President. Do you know, Jed? I know some people are at pains not to accept the fact that Godfrey Rigathi Gachagua is still the Deputy President.
Up to now.
Up to now. You can remove his security, like they have done. You can send all the employees on leave, forced leave, which is uncouth, uncalled for, which is uncivilized way of doing things. You know, you disable somebody, yet that job he has been given by Kenyans to perform. I know it's very painful to accept that he is still the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. It's painful. But until the courts finally make a determination, he is still our Deputy President.
Is government justified when it comes to this removal of security?
That is, no, how can you say it's justified, Jen?
I'm asking.
How can you say it's justified?
What is
it is just being uncivil. How can you, even if today the courts found him, you know, that the process, and they declare that, yeah, you're properly been thrown out of office through an impeachment process, even if the courts, I would still expect that the government treats a holder of such an office with dignity and decorum, with some civility. What I'm seeing being done to Rigathi, and he's not my friend, at least William, as I refer to him as a friend, I would hate to see any person being treated the way they're treating him. Touch wood, Jed. And I know it's painful for some people. I know it's so painful to accept that should anything happen right now to the president, either is incapacitated or something happens, because they're a human being, yeah? Even if he wants to act like a stone, he's just a human being. Anything can happen to him. Who takes over? Who takes over? Who takes over, Jed?
One Rigathi?
One Rigathi. And God forbid, if that ever happened, these guys would be put on a frying pan, because I'm sure Rigathi will go for revenge. So they should tread carefully.
Yeah.
And never mistreat another human being, because your time comes, and when it comes fast and furious.
Kenyans are furious, Kisia, and this is my last point, or something that I'd like to discuss lastly as we are winding up. Furious with this term limit thing by Samson Cherargei, who's Nandi senator. I'm reading a report here that Parliament received over 121,000 written memorandum from Kenyans rejecting that bill that seeks to extend this term limits for MCAs, elected leaders, up to the president, from 5 years to 7 years. looked at this report, Kisia, what first came to mind? What do you think about this particular senator?
You know, what came to my mind, you really want to know?
Yes.
That President Ruto thinks that Kenyans are children and they're stupid.
Hold on first. Let's listen to President Ruto on
Listen
this
to that.
particular issue.
Yes, look for that video.
The same way we opposed BBI because it was meant to achieve selfish, parochial, personal interests. We will oppose any move to change the constitution. I will be at the front to say no to any change of the constitution, to change term limit, to change things that benefit individuals. Here, that is unnecessary, that is uncalled for, and it is an exercise in futility because it will not happen under my watch.
He says he will not allow. So why do you say he thinks that we are children?
Excuse me. You know, do you think that such a weighty matter will be brought by his own senator, and even given priority by the speaker? There are other pressing matters, a lot of pressing matters before the Senate. Why come this matter is so important that it has been given priority by the speaker, the same Amason Kingi? It is obvious. The master's hand is in this thing. Otherwise, just the way he normally marshals people, that's the way he normally makes phone calls. He would have called that Charagay boy of his and told him, "Wewe Charagay, watch your puss." Do you remember what I said? Do you remember what I said a few months ago? I said that stupidness, and I think he used the word stupid. I will not allow such stupidity. I will not allow even people to talk about term extensions because I'm not a madman. I will not allow. I won't allow. I'm not a madman. But now he's somewhere smiling, allowing the thing to be discussed. The speaker, his own speaker, has allowed the thing, given it priority. I am so happy. And I'm praying that this time round, that they don't try and do amlolongo on Kenyans. They will be revisited. That Senate will be revisited. That the long queue is declared the short queue. Because everybody I've spoken to, everybody, Jed, have said they have opposed. Now we are waiting for them to read the results. How many Kenyans filed memoranda? I know even the system at the Senate, I think, could not handle anymore. They couldn't handle the petitions. The system broke down. Kenyans were saying, no, reject. There are over 200,000, Jed. Over 200,000 petitions by Kenyans saying, no. So we are waiting, and we are actually waiting to see the returns. This motion is dead on arrival. Dead on arrival from the fact that, one, people have said no, a resounding no. Two, such a change on our governance architecture will require nothing less than a referendum. We are not going to allow some small little characters in some Senate somewhere seated who are controlled by one man being told what to do. Kenyans have said no.
Kiambu Senator proposes a reduction from 5 to 4.
That is the man speaking. That's the man confident of re-election. I can tell you, 95% of those people, including the president, are not sure of the re-election. And that is why they want to stretch it. They're imagining that Kenyans are asleep. They're imagining that they can bulldoze, pushing the term. And you see, Jed, if you are given 5 years, and you are unable to do a job, you are unable to do anything useful, meaningful, you are unable to perform. Even if you added you another 5 years, you cannot still perform. Because when you are incompetent and useless, you cannot change. Time does not allow you to change. As a matter of fact, time allows you, when you're given more time, it allows you to be more inefficient and more incompetent. You get my point?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Yes.
So when you look at...
So why would I want an incompetent fellow to continue staying in office?
Do you think this...
A useless fellow.
Do you think this proposal will be shoveled down
It
people's
is
throats?
dead on arrival. From the memorandums I have seen and from the people I have engaged, people are saying no. But most importantly, Jed, let us not forget that we have a constitution. That's a very fundamental issue touching on our constitution. How can they even dream of amending it through some parliamentary process? It cannot happen.
I've just remembered,
It cannot happen.
I saw your letter.
Yes, my letter, yes. I put in a petition. Did you put a petition?
I saw yours.
Did you put in a petition, Jed?
I saw yours.
Did you put in a petition?
You are the one on the other side of this
Jed,
table.
come on.
So I'm asking you.
Jed, come on.
I saw your
Oh, yeah,
petition.
no, Jed, be counted.
said
You must be counted, Jed.
You said we have to go for a referendum for something of this magnitude
Yes.
to happen.
Yes. You know, that is something that significantly change our architecture, our governance structure. Guys, we gave a mandate for 5 years. We are the ones who gave them the mandate. They want to extend their mandate because they're incompetent, because they have failed, because they're useless, because they have not done anything. They want to extend by 2 years. We are not going to allow time extension to an incompetent team. If they have done a good job, there's no need to worry, Jed. If they have done a superb job, if they have done a good job, 2027, let them present themselves. Yeah? Present themselves to Mwananchi, and they'll be voted back. But these characters know they have failed.
Finally, what is the place of the people? You look at over
actually, there's a president, I don't know president of which country, I don't know if they remember, I was reading somewhere, who said, you know what, from the insults I've got, you must look for that name, but I can't remember. From the insults that I've received, and people have accused me for being incompetent, I'm not going for a second term. I'm finishing this term and I'm just going home. Actually, it says that even if his wife, his own wife, has advised him against running for a second term. I am also praying that Rachel, wherever she is, I'll look for that, clip and share. He also needs to advise his dear husband that people are unhappy. People are unhappy, and actually, if Ruto wants peace, if I was the one advising him, back office, if I'm an advisor, I should be operating from back office. I cannot be the face of policy. Yeah. I can't be the face of policy because I'm an advisor.
That's what Moses is doing now.
He is the face of policy. I will be advising my president, work hard for the next one. In fact, immediately you declare you're not going for a second term, people not even bother removing you. People relax. They will give you time to implement your projects. They may even allow you to eat quietly because they know you're leaving.
What is the danger of now these leaders of ours not listening to the public? Because we're looking at this proposal of term limit, we're looking at how Gachagua was impeached, you looked at how finance bill happened. What is the danger of this?
The danger is one. The danger is one. The danger is that Mwananchi may revisit what they did on 25th of June this year. I can tell you for certain. Because I told you last time that things are boiling.
Yeah.
I know people say they are boiling nicely, but these are not boiling nicely. Things are really boiling, and the pressure cooker is about to blow up, and it's going to blow up on their faces.
Well, what a conversation here on Philip Kisia Unscripted. We've talked about our constitution, our courts, term limits, our parliament. But my question for you this particular evening is, do you think our constitution is that bad, that there's so much that needs to be done for us to stop having these conversations about going for a referendum every single day. But just as always, Kisia, it's always good to finish up with one final word on this Friday.
Come on, man. You know, you make me knock out my afternoon for you and then say one final word. Come on, Jed. Be serious sometimes.
One final word.
Now, listen, Jed.
Final thoughts. Then.
We are going to close with 2 videos today.
Yeah.
And the first one, which I want you to play, is the one by my very good friend, Professor Pierre Lumumba. Short, I think, is about a minute or less.
Life is intergenerational. Life is a relay race. And my message is, ignore young people at your own peril. If you ignore them, then they'll create disorder. And when they create disorder, then the society will be turned upside down. And if the society is turned upside down, then it takes generation to restore it.
PL Lumumba, they are talking about this generation. We can't ignore it.
No, PLO is saying that life is about a relay. You run, you cannot keep on running. There must be a generational change. It's a relay. So what we must now be doing, the people of our generation, is to prepare to hand on the baton. We must prepare. But I know power is so sweet. These characters are not ready to hand over. And what my friend PLO is saying, that the consequences can be dire. And ignore the Gen Zs and millennials at your own peril. They will remove you, or they'll remove us from the office by force, by fire. You've heard me, Jed?
Yes.
They will do what?
By force, by fire.
By force, by fire. What happened on 25th will be worse 3 times. So, the decent thing that my generation should be doing is now to train. I'm hoping I've been training. Me, I train my children, and I'm start getting them into the mood of taking over. We must prepare them to take over. Others, they'll force us out by force of fire. The last one, I want you to look at this prophet, Fonis or somebody. Look for that video. It's again, I think, a minute and a half. Look for it.
Who will persuade Ruto? Who will persuade Ruto to keep on oppressing Kenyans? Who will persuade Ruto to bring a law that is against the church? Who will persuade you, Mr. Ruto? God is not with you. God is not with you. You have DCI, CID, whichever D. Send them for me or send them to me. I don't care. Even they are fed up. And the military is also fed up with you now. Who will persuade Ruto to go, Ahab, to go up, that he may fall at Ramoth Gilead? Who will persuade him to rig out Rigathi?
He says, God is not with you. God is not with Ruto. We're finishing up with that one.
Yes. You see, President Ruto is a godly man. But what this prophet is saying, that he should stop oppressing Kenyans. And Kenyans are tired of carrying that burden. They are completely tired. The man seems to be talking from the same script like Pastor Reverend Wairimu and Reverend Kiama. Hii ni serikali ya shetani. Hii ni serikali ya
shetani.
John 10. They have come to steal, kill, and destroy. Now this one has added one thing. He has said, Jed, it is not me saying. I'm just paraphrasing.
Okay.
He has said that God is not with William Samoei Ruto. My advice to my friend, good friend, This Sunday, repent your sins.
What a message. What a show. That has been Philip Kisia, unscripted, summoning the president, telling him to go back to church and repent. What's your thoughts about this particular show? We've covered a lot, but thank you for tuning in. Share this video with as many people as possible so that we can reach Kenyans, we can reach our leaders, and we better our country. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not for going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.